Last time on Danganronpa, Trigger Happy Havoc.
When I saw all that blood, I fainted. Right there in front of the magazines. I don't remember what happened after that. If you want to know more, you'll have to ask her.
Her, you mean... Oh boy.
Guess who's back?
And now, back to trying to ditch school. Just do it. It turned out okay. Hey everyone. This is James Gilliam here again. And I'm back from more Danganronpa. Last time, we went through 2 full-time battles. And I lost that one, but it helps out that the skill I got from Tagami helped. I think it's Tagami. It helped out a whole bunch. I had 10 hearts instead of 5 hearts, so I had more chances to not die. It helped out a lot. More life. But skill, it helped out. So if you need them, use them. But anyway, we're on now, and I guess Makoto is wondering something important. What could that be? I don't know. We'll find out. The story continues. Responsibility. There's another explanation. Maybe. Oh. Yes. I put my. By the way, I put my extension on. Guy here. A little bit in the background, we found out how to know to turn on the engine. So, yeah. Oh, God, I was sweating. It's end of May, I finally turned it on. I guess I turned it on back in April, maybe early May, late April, early April even. But no, it was in the 40s and 50s still for a long time. But anyways, nothing. Ohio. Let's get back to the game. There's no explanation. Idiot. That's the thing.
What was it that killed Ogre? If it wasn't from Genocide Jill's attack, then what was it?
There's no other possible cause. What killed Sakura? I can't think of anything other than the shot to her head. So you're dead set on blaming me, huh?
What was it that killed Ogre? If it wasn't from Genocide Jill's attack, then what was it?
There's no other possible cause. What killed Sakura? I can't think of anything other than the shot to her head.
No, it's wrong. According to the Monokuma file, Sakura had vomited blood. I think we can assume there's a chance this was related to her cause of death.
You think so, Nagi?
In fact, there was even a trace of blood left around her mouth.
Well, I mean, maybe when she got hit with the bottles, she cut the inside of her mouth.
If that's all it was, the file wouldn't have specified vomited blood. Not to mention, I didn't find any cuts inside her mouth.
You even checked in there? God, you really are into dead bodies!
Yeah, totally. They turn me on. Shut up, you long-haired,
No, I'm not into dead bodies. What I'm into is solving mysteries.
But if there wasn't a cut or anything, then what made her vomit blood?
Some sort of reaction within her body. Most likely, Sakura was poisoned.
Poisoned?
That's right. This is the conclusion I've arrived at, and so there can be no mistake.
I am never wrong.
You're making me go all weak in the knees! She was poisoned? It isn't possible!
Is it really so hard to believe? Then let me explain exactly how the culprit was able to poison her.
You can explain it?
Of course, if you don't mind.
I do mind.
Everyone quiet! Shut up and listen to Master!
This hungry any longer? Where is he? Frog DNA?
But you're the only one talking.
The key to unlocking this mystery was hiding in the chem lab up on the 4th floor.
Huh? Not in the rec room? Then I could have found it all along!
You never would have, since you gave up on the search the moment you were barred from the crime scene.
Well, yeah, good point.
There's a big shelving unit in the chem lab that houses a variety of mixtures and chemicals. And that's where I found this.
Is that the poison?
It's not an especially powerful poison, but it'll still kill you if you drink an entire bottle. But the specific properties don't matter. What does matter is where I found it.
Where'd you find it?
The shelf is divided up into 3 sections, A, B, and C. In Section A, dietary supplements. In B, reagents. And in C, a variety of lethal chemicals.
And that's where the poison came from? Section C?
Well, that's the question, isn't it?
Poison vodka soda. I'm sure I know it came from. Yep, B, the C, no, A.
I got it! The poison was actually in Section A, wasn't it?
Huh? You just said that Section A was for supplements or whatever.
I did say that.
Strange, isn't it? Why would there be a bottle of poison mixed in with all those nutritional additives?
Yeah, so? Why?
Because the culprit switched it out. That's why.
What do you mean?
I mean this.
Can't believe my eyes. Miyake put the bottle of poison to his lips and...
Master!
It was so shocked at what we were saying. Just then there's what?
Ugh, that tastes awful.
Wait, but as it was the most natural thing in the world, Miyake was calm as ever.
Oh no! Master's in real trouble! You have to drink some water! You can't just swallow powder! It'll stick to your throat!
Idiot! He just swallowed poison! We need to make him spit it out!
The flavor certainly makes me want to spit it out. What's so high quality about this stuff?
Huh? What are you talking about?
I'm talking about the protein, of course.
Protein?
Can I see that bottle for a second?
Sure. Do whatever you like.
Kyoko took the bottle from Yakuya and said,
It's protein powder.
Correct. That wasn't poison in the bottle, but harmless protein powder. Which makes one wonder, the poison that should have been in that bottle, where did it go?
Where did it go? Where indeed? Could it be? Gonna hang myself again. Imported drugs.
Now I understand.
I'm glad you do.
Poison must have been poured into the protein can. If the protein's in the poison bottle, it seems only logical to assume the reverse is true, right?
Absolutely. The contents of each container were switched. So the protein was in the bottle of poison, and the poison was in the protein can. Once you accept that, it becomes obvious how the culprit was able to get Sakura to drink the poison.
Holy crap!
All they had to do was hand her something there at the scene, and she was happy to drink the poison herself.
I got it! You're saying they gave her a protein drink, right?
A protein drink which actually contained a deadly poison.
What?
That's all it took to kill Sakura. That is the true cause of death.
You know, I do remember Ogre saying that protein stuff was good for all kinds of aches and pains. So maybe she took it to try and help with the whole bleeding head wound thing.
But what was offered to her instead was a bottle full of poison. And I already know exactly who swapped the mixtures.
Da, da, da.
For real? Who was it?
Evidence revealing who replaced the two materials was left in the chem lab for anyone to see.
Footprints left behind in front of the shelf. That's the evidence you're talking about, isn't it?
I visited the chem lab this morning, and there were definitely no footprints there at that point. They must have appeared around the time of the murder, which leaves no doubt that they're connected.
No doubt. No doubt in the mind of Tagami, the greatest detective of all time. I am genius. Not know that? For I
What's more, the footprints were in front of Section A, where I found the bottle meant for the poison. The culprit must have gone to Section A to swap the poison and protein, leaving their footprints behind. And given how clear the prints were, figuring out who they belong to will pose no problem. All we have to do is check everyone's footprints right now. Then we'll see who...
It was me.
Da da da.
The footprints. They're mine.
Hina?
If you're all gonna find out anyway, I'd rather you hear it straight from me, you know?
Then, Ogre's killer was...
Yep. I did it! I killed Sakura!
Just as I suspected. The footprints were made by a pair of sneakers. There was no mistaking it. And the only people here who wear sneakers are...
Dead person, no, it's not.
I got it! Me and Hina are the only ones. Oh, so Byakuya. That explains why you...
If the footprints didn't belong to Makoto, that left only one other possibility.
Just Hina.
Plus, Nina's been acting strange ever since the trial began. You were in an awful rush to get to the vote, weren't you? This whole time, you've been focused on pinning the crime on someone else, haven't you?
I can't believe it.
What about it can't you believe?
Well, it's just... the two of them were so close.
That's likely exactly why it turned out this way. Because they were so close, Sakura didn't think twice about it when Hina handed her the concoction. Hina used that trust to kill her. She deceived the victim, and she tried to deceive all of us. I have to say, Hina, coming from you, this was a particularly nasty little scheme.
Is it true? Did you really kill Sakura? And if you did, why? Why would you do that?
I found her. There in the rec room. She was hurt. She asked me to bring her that protein drink. But when I went to get the powder from the chem lab, it just occurred to me all of a sudden.
Now's my chance to kill her. That's what you thought, right? That's when you switched out the protein powder, and that's when you gave her the poisoned mixture.
And then she downed it all at once. And then
Then, I guess he had another
I'm not convinced.
You're not about to claim she wouldn't kill a close friend, are you? You still don't get it, do you? The game we're playing here isn't so kind. Honeyed words like friendship don't matter here. What matters is outwitting the opponent, defeating them. Not a person alive would sacrifice themselves for another. In the end, we're all in it for ourselves. Just like how this girl sacrificed Sakura to save herself.
You say that, but I'm still not convinced.
How many times do you plan to repeat yourself?
Don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying it because of some misguided sentimentalism. But there's still that one unsolved mystery, and I'm not convinced.
Are you talking about the locked room problem?
Hina, if you really are the killer, explain it. How did you create that locked room?
Well... that doesn't matter. Just because I'm guilty, that means I have to tell you everything?
No, it doesn't. But the fact that you won't tell us concerns me.
Surely you're not... Do you honestly think Hina didn't actually kill her?
And if I do?
Impossible. She switched out the mixtures. She's the culprit. There's no way you can doubt this.
Are you sure about that? Even ignoring the fact that I don't want to believe it, it just doesn't fit.
What doesn't fit?
I mean, why would someone leave such a clear clue like a footprint? It's too obvious, too easy.
He's right. It makes it look like you wanted people to suspect you.
That was... I was just nervous. So, I didn't notice I'd left a footprint.
You didn't notice?
Yeah, that's just how it was. What can I do?
Just how it was. What you can do about it, man? Meep.
Listen, Hina. Could you go into a bit more detail? Tell us more about when you switched the poison and the protein.
How come? That doesn't matter.
Hina, please, I'd like to know too.
Fine.
Waste your time if you like. It's clear that Hina is the culprit.
Why are we bothering with this? Itagami's declared it, so it must be true.
There's nobody else to suspect. Nobody else could have possibly done it.
Go ahead, Hina. Start from the moment you arrived at the chem lab.
Well, right away I went to Section C and got the poison.
And is that when you spilled the powder in front of that part of the shelf?
Yeah. When I opened the bottle, I dropped it like an idiot.
I see. Okay then, go on.
So then I moved to Section A and got the protein powder, and that's where I switched them. Once I was done with that, I took the protein can that had the poison in it and left the room. But I accidentally put the bottle filled with protein powder back on the wrong shelf. And because of that, everything I did got found out. And that's it.
That story you just told.
It's a lie.
First you went to Section C to get the poison, then moved to Section A to get the protein, right?
Right.
Meaning you went from Section C to Section A. Do I have that correct?
Yeah.
But if that's true, that's strange.
Can you repeat that series of events one more time?
What's wrong with you, Big Mac? You're being awfully pushy.
Not Big Mac. I'm a Double Mac.
It's the same thing no matter how many times you hear it. How long until you're satisfied?
Till we put you in your place. QT. How long? Until we figure it out. We gotta turn the full truth of this case.
First, I went to Section C. That's when I grabbed the poison.
And you spilled some of the powder on the ground in front of the shelf.
Yeah. When I grabbed the bottle, I dropped it.
Okay, and then?
I moved from Section C to Section A. And that's where I switched the powders. Once I was done switching them, I put the bottle filled with the protein powder back in Section A. Then I took the bottle with the poison in it and left the chem lab. That's all there is to it.
Honestly, that's enough. How much longer must we tolerate this?
First, I went to Section C. That's when I grabbed the poison.
And you spilled some of the powder on the ground in front of the shelf.
Yeah. When I grabbed the bottle, I dropped it.
Okay, and then?
I moved from Section C to Section A.
No, it's wrong! You said you went to get the poison from Section C, and that's where you spilled the powder, right?
Yeah? What about it?
Yeah, what about it?
And after that, you said you moved from Section C to Section A to get the protein. But the footprints left at the scene were not moving from Section C to Section A. That contradicts what you just said.
Then maybe she moved in some weird direction on purpose to disguise her movements?
No, that can't be it. Remember what Hina just said?
What the? Hina, what's the meaning of this?
How dare you prove me wrong?
Well,
You lied to us. Plain and simple. If you look at the footprints, your movements in the chem lab are obvious. The powder had already been spilled when you came in, and you went straight to Section A. So you never went to Section C. Whatever you did there, it only involved Section A.
well, you see...
I think Hina has shorts like Khaleesi does in the Time State. Without the leggings.
What the?
Oh, good job. I can't believe he was wrong.
What the hell? What's going on here?
And the footprints aren't the only problem with her account.
Oh, the freaker is smirking again. Like she doesn't jump it up.
What?
Before I explain that part, I'd like to submit some new evidence.
New evidence? Impossible, there can't be.
Are you sure? After all, you're the one that gave it to me.
I did?
It was hidden inside the bottle of poison you gave me. I'm amazed you, of all people, would miss such a vital clue. A truly grave oversight.
Just say it already! What is it you think you found?
I found this. It had sunk to the bottom of the bottle. And the hidden clue was exposed, thanks to you ingesting the powder. I couldn't have solved the mystery without you. So, thank you for that.
But what is it?
Oh, you still don't realize? Well then. Makoto, why don't you explain it?
Huh? Me?
Fine. If you really do know, explain the meaning of that shard of glass.
A bottle of poison. Your bottle.
I got it! It's part of the window from the rec room door, right?
The window?
The window.
The window we broke to get in was light blue, just like that. So I think that must be it.
You're right. It must be. Of course, that leads to another question. How did a shard of glass from the window get inside this bottle of poison?
What's so strange about that?
What's strange is that, according to what Hina told us, I got it! The bottle of poison was left on the shelf in the chem lab. That is what you said, right, Hina? And yet, somehow a piece of glass from the rec room window made its way into the bottle.
Everything Hina told us was a lie?
That's not why.
In reality, that bottle of poison most definitely found its way to the rec room. It was there at least until the window got broken. In other words, when the locked room was unlocked. There's no other way to explain the presence of that glass in that bottle.
And then, once the room was opened, the bottle somehow got moved back to the shelf in the chem lab. Meanwhile, the protein can we found at the crime scene was planted there. That had to be after the locked room was opened. In other words, after Sakura died.
Wait, hold on. You're moving too fast. I'll grant you, the bottle of poison may well have been in the rec room when it was locked. But how can you say the protein can was put there after the room was unlocked? We already know she was given the protein can with the poison inside, right? If that can wasn't there when she died, how did she get poisoned?
You're right. We do need to explain that. But before we do, there's something I'd like to confirm with everyone here.
Huh?
It has to do with the protein can. After Sakura's body was discovered, did anyone move it or trip over it or anything like that?
What are you talking about? Is this some kind of loaded question?
Got me confused.
Not at all. Just answer to the best of your ability.
Well, no, not that I remember.
Yeah, me either.
Not me.
Same here. Yeah, me either.
Okay then, that settles it. That proves that the protein can found its way to the murder scene after the room was opened.
Oh, come on! How can you say that?
How can you prove me wrong? I'm Tagami!
How can you know what I don't know?
Say that, it's evident. Screwed up when you fucked the person hand after it was opened.
When it comes to that protein can, there's not a doubt in my mind. Until the locked room was unlocked, it absolutely was not in there.
So you're saying someone planted it there after we got the door open?
No. No, that's impossible! It had to have been in there the whole time! It had to be! It was in there before the rec room was unlocked!
When it comes to that protein can, there's not a doubt in my mind. Until the locked room was unlocked, it absolutely was not in there.
So you're saying someone planted it there after we got the door open?
No. No, that's impossible! It had to have been in there the whole time! It had to be! It was in there before the rec room was
No, that's wrong.
What's your life? You're wrong, Tagami!
You remember how there was broken glass scattered all around the room, right?
Of course! It came from the window you broke to get in. What about it?
Well, those pieces weren't just scattered around the protein can. We also found pieces underneath the can.
What?
And this proves it. It shows that the can must have been put down on the floor after the window was broken. So it had to be after we got into the room.
I see. So that's your explanation. Kyoko, earlier when you asked if anyone had moved the can or tripped over it,
If that were the case, that would explain the can being on top of the glass.
So you asked everyone about it to eliminate that possibility right out of the gate.
And that's made everything clear, hasn't it? As long as it was a locked room, it only contained the bottle of poison, and not the protein can. But once the room was opened up, they were switched, and as a result, the protein can wound up in the rec room, and the bottle of poison returned to the chem lab.
if that's all true, then why did Sakura drink the poison? I thought we all agreed she was tricked into drinking it because of the protein can.
No, that's not why. The only explanation is she drank it from its original bottle, knowing exactly what it was.
Precisely. She was alone in a locked room. All she had was the poison. What other possibility is there?
You're saying she drank it knowing what it was? Such a ridiculous fiction is...
Exactly what happened.
Me?
Then tell us already! Sorry. Please, tell us.
Oh my god, he is sorry.
Before we get to that, we need to clarify one other thing. We need to establish who exactly got the poison from the chem lab and took it to the rec room.
It was Hina, right? She took it and gave it to Ogre.
What do you think, Makoto?
You're the star of this series. So what do you think? When he got the poison in the chem lab and brought it to the rec room, had to have been...
I got it! I think it was Sakura herself.
Huh? So Sakura, who was apparently murdered, just
poisoned herself? What are you talking about? There's no way!
On the contrary, we know for a fact she went to the chem lab, right to the section full of poisons.
You're lying! Stop lying! Why? Why would you lie like that?
Oh god, another multi-time battle.
You're a liar! What are you saying? Wrong! You're wrong! Just let it end already! You're a liar! Wrong! You're wrong! I hate you! You're a liar! What are you saying? Wrong! You're wrong! Just let it end already! You're a liar! Wrong! You're wrong! I hate you! You're a liar! I'm telling you, I did it! I hate you! You're a liar! What are you saying? Wrong! You're wrong! Just let it end already! You're a liar! Wrong! You're wrong! I hate you!
Final strike.
Do you have any kind of proof Sakura took the poison?
This should prove it. Hina, did you know that Sakura's foot had a certain yellow powder stuck to it?
It did?
It did. The same yellow powder that had been spilled by the shelf in the chem lab. That powder was yellow, wasn't it? So the powder we found on Sakura, what else could it be but the powder from the chem lab?
Da, da, da.
Wait. So, what was that powder doing on Ogre's foot?
And it was only on her instep, right?
Sakura must have been standing right there where the powder was spilled. So the person who spilled the powder by the shelf wasn't Hina, but Sakura. And when Sakura dropped the bottle, she dropped it away from where she was actually standing. Which is how she was able to avoid getting it all over herself. But the powder still got scattered around, and some of it must have wound up on her instep. Is there any problem with my thinking?
But why did Sakura pay a visit to Section C in the first place? The only explanation is that she was looking for poison. After all, that's all that section contained.
No! It was me! The poison! Because I killed her!
No, you didn't kill her.
Sakura is... Someone to the locker room. Explain it. That was me! The ghost of Sakura. Let's go!
Here's my answer! The one who killed Sakura was Sakura herself.
What? The killer was Sakura?
Wait, so you're saying it was suicide?
I don't believe it! I don't believe it any more than I believe I can fly!
I can't believe it either. Or rather, I don't want to believe it. But when you really think about it, Everything matches up. Sakura went and got the poison. She barricaded herself in a room, and she drank it. All so she could end her own life. And that explains why we couldn't solve the mystery of the locked room.
Of course. Shaka did it in secret. Come do it.
I got it! The locked room mystery was created by Sakura.
I'm sure she locked herself in so nobody could stop her from doing what she did. She sat there, drank the poison, and breathed her last breath. And the empty bottle of poison rolled around the locked room until we came and opened it. At that point, someone grabbed the bottle and snuck it out of the room. And that was you, wasn't it, Hina? You did it to throw off the investigation, didn't you? When we found her body, you stayed right there near the door. Because you already knew Sakura was dead. And because the bottle of poison had rolled near the doorway.
That's when you picked up the bottle, right? I was too shocked to notice anything, and Kyoko was busy checking the body.
And the more I think about it, the more I realize how unusual your actions were. You said you were going to go get everyone else. But your real intention was to go to the chem lab and switch out the containers, wasn't it? Once you were at the chem lab, you headed straight to the section where the protein powder was kept. There, you took the powder and poured it into the bottle of poison you'd grabbed from the rec room. When you left the lab, all you had was the empty protein can. Thinking about it like that, the footprints make perfect sense.
When you were done, you gathered everyone together. And once you were back in the rec room,
What? Overrun? Elsa's dead.
while everyone else was focused on Sakura, you quietly placed the can on the ground. Honestly, you should have noticed. You should have been the first one to run up to Sakura's lifeless body. The Hina I know never would have left her side in a situation like that.
So, Sakura committed suicide. In order to hide this fact, Hina undertook a series of actions to undermine the investigation. As long as you could disguise the truth, you didn't care if we blamed you for her death. That's why you didn't bother to get rid of such obvious evidence, right? The footprints in the powder and the bottle of poison? Vital pieces of evidence, and yet...
So you're saying Hina consciously deceived us to make it look like she killed Sakura?
No! No! I killed her! I did it!
That's enough, Hina. It's over.
It's not! Nothing's over!
It is!
Makoto, I'm finally yelling.
Actually, no. You're right. You have to end this properly.
With the comic book.
exactly what happened.
Let's find out.
This case began when Sakura asked a number of people to meet her in the rec room. Specifically, those people were Hiro, Toko, and Byakuya. But one of them headed out a bit earlier than the others, Toko. She got there one step ahead of everyone else and looked around for a good hiding spot. And she found it. She crawled into the locker to get out of sight. Then, from inside the locker, she saw Sakura enter the room. Next to arrive was Hiro. When he got there, he mistakenly thought Sakura was going to try to kill him, so he panicked. Without thinking, he grabbed a nearby Monokuma bottle and attacked Sakura with it. Thinking he'd killed her, he hastily began covering up his crime. He took a magazine from the table and forged a dying message from Sakura. To that end, he wrote down a name. Toko. By writing her name, he was hoping to pin the murder on her. But of course, Toko had witnessed the whole thing. So as soon as the coast was clear, she jumped out of the locker and hid the magazine on the shelf with all the others. But in her rush, she made one little mistake. She put the magazine back upside down. Soon after, she watched as Sakura slowly opened her eyes. She also saw the blood dripping off Sakura's head and fainted. This caused her personality to switch back over to Genocide Jack. When she woke back up, her second personality also saw the blood-soaked Sakura, and she freaked out. And just like Hiro, she grabbed another Monokuma bottle and attacked her. This explains why there were 2 wounds on Sakura's head. Assuming Sakura really was dead this time, she set about disposing of the evidence. She gathered up the broken Monokuma bottle shards and the queen chess piece. And that explains how Sakura was attacked twice with the same type of weapon. But even after those 2 blows, she was still alive.
Oh my head.
So then, what was Sakura's actual cause of death?
Yes,
It was the poison that Sakura herself got from the chem lab. She turned the rec room into a true locked room scenario, and then drank the deadly mixture. And there, she took her final breath. Later on, the rest of us discovered that her body was in there. We had to smash the door's window to get inside. But someone already knew what had happened, knew that she had committed suicide. And that same someone quietly snatched the bottle of poison from off the ground. The killer is you! And that same someone quietly snatched the bottle of poison from off the ground. And while nobody was looking, replaced it with an empty protein can. They did all this specifically to place all the suspicion on themselves, in an attempt to guide the trial to a false conclusion. And the one who went to all that effort was you, Hina.
Complete.
That's the full truth of the case.
The sadness begins.
Sakura took her own life. And you claim to be the killer to hide that fact. Isn't that right?
God.
That's what happened?
That was so sad. I mean, like, rubbing down.
But, Makoto, how did you manage to... How were you able to uncover the truth that even I couldn't discern?
Huh? Oh, well, I mean...
You still haven't realized? We don't all act according to calculations and cost-benefit diagrams. That's what makes us so complicated. That's what you don't understand. And that's why you couldn't solve this case. See? Didn't I tell you? When you dismiss other people's feelings, it'll always come back to bite you in the end.
A B B B B B C A C B. Ah, I got a B finally. Let's see. Oh, that was the till thing I got. A C B B B B A C. God, I missed a lot of stuff that time. My first B. 7 coins.
Okay. I think we can all agree you made your point. Did you guys forget already? You still haven't voted yet.
Oh yeah, that's right.
You seriously forgot? I can feel my energy draining out of me.
I need a Red Bull. Or a black and white bull.
Well, whatever. You don't really have a choice anyway. You just gotta do it. Maybe you don't want to, but please grab your lever and cast your vote. So, who will be chosen as the blackened? Will you make the right choice or the dreadfully wrong one? What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be? Okay.
Yep, that's right. The one who killed Sakura was Sakura herself. Oh, Monokuma sad.
My entire existence!
Okay, we're done here.
What did you say?
So that's the whole truth. I see. But there's still one thing I understand.
Come on.
Hina, why did you try to kill Hina? Why Why did you kill her? What happened? The truth had come to light. You died with the rest of us.
What are you thinking?
And yet you why did you do that?
Don't be mean!
Yeah, Mom, you understand there.
What is this?
Because it's like I wanted. What? When Sucker died. Because you pushed her into a corner. You all killed her. So that's why.
You should have been the one to die!
We don't let her die.
What?
You know what I mean? I think it's all with you. For sins. Everyone, even me. We all killed her. We all have to pay for our crime.
What?
You're serious, man? That's...
What is this?
I just don't understand. Let me explain. You realize how much the spirit sucker was in carrying her through until she died? Look at this. This spirit had to make me desperate. I didn't kill it. I did it with my own hands. When I be killed, I'll do it with my own hands. That's... I got it from the locker room. That's Sakura's suicide note. Suicide note? Thinking back, I see it coming. The stranger inside jacket attacked me. Sakura got mad and stormed out of the nurse's office. I ran after her and... Sakura, calm down. You don't have to worry about... Sakura, calm down. You don't worry about me. I'm fine. I can't calm down. I don't care if I suffer for this. It's my fault after all. But now you're suffering because of me.
No forgiveness!
You tried to protect me because of me.
I can't forgive this!
Because this friend got hurt. Sakura. Because of me. My friends are all gonna kill each other. It's all my responsibility. Sakura is responsible. Everything was her fault. This is why she wanted to find someone to get everyone to forgive her. So she asked to meet with them. You have to meet with those three? You can't! You know how dangerous that is? Don't worry, I just want to talk to him.
But...
Talk about what? Listen, don't do it! If they get on you, once even you...
Hina.
Please don't think about things like that. They are not my enemies.
They're friends.
Sakura. Because they believed. It's all of us. If you just talk to her, you would understand that she's a friend to all of us. And yet...
Why?
And yet... Her feelings, and then you did the unthinkable. It's just understanding, Mom.
What are you saying?
That's not called misunderstanding. You believed in you. You understood the thing that she had to say. I was gonna see the question. You tried to kill her.
I won't forgive you.
I doubt that's where she was seeing you act like that. And that's what her suicide note means. She's waiting to be killed with her own hand.
Why?
That's how far you pushed her.
Huh?
Sakura, what happened to you?
Hina.
Game. help.
Hina,
Huh?
I...
I'm so glad I got to meet you. What's wrong, Sakura? Why are you talking like that?
I have a favor to ask.
Huh?
Favor?
Some protein.
I asked you to. Yeah, hold on. I'll get it. Just I'll be right back. That's the conversation I had with her. God, the music and the tears. God. The came out with the pudding he asked for. I got there, I saw the powder. That's when I realized. I think it's from the poison itself, Sakura. Seems like as much as I could. By the time I got there, it was already too late. Sakura,
Please!
let me in. Open the door.
Why? Why?
Why did she have to die? She had weaknesses. Just any other person. She got cut. Someone hurt her. She felt it. She bled. That's weakness. It's normal. Yet,
Why?
you don't blame her. I know how that feels. Protect her. Ask her for it. I don't really care to carry. I didn't even realize it. We killed her. All of us. We pushed her to the corner and we murdered her.
Why?
We want us to be able to live. That's why you tried to lead us this. That's why you tried to lead us astray. You did your best to make us write the long conclusion at the class trial. Sakura died hanging all of us. I won the fear of her regrets. Even like I found out in the end I wasn't able to do anything for her. Did you ever face her after this?
Hey! Hey!
I'm sorry to interrupt you to this volunteer trigger, but
Hey!
so it's on the phone. I'll be over here. I mean, you really have any idea? We're talking about Dr. Signal who died?
What is this?
What did you say? What did you say? Everything that you think about your picture, right? Everything you know what your suicide note meant?
What are you saying?
What the hell was you thinking? What the hell was you thinking? It's her and me, her and me.
In other words,
What I'm trying to say is...
yes, indeed.
Feeling tired for days in the city? What if it was really like this?
What the heck?
What is that, Mon?
Of course.
Isn't it obvious?
Yep.
Let's see suicide note. Let's look at a suicide note. What?
Too bad.
What was that one? It's all me, baby. I'm a forger. I'm a plagiarist.
It's true.
This is the one that Sakura addressed to Hina and put in her room.
Huh?
What the?
Huh?
Unbelievable.
It sounds so dirty. You're dirty and filthy, you know? I'm following and look at it.
Well now, well now, well now, well now.
You know, it's blue sugar, that's face value. Yes, I'll think around it.
Damn it.
filthy. I'm pristine, white and black.
Pum, pum.
I for trials. He's put out for you and you alone. You don't have to bring your answers around.
Phew.
I can use a little bit of you guys.
Shing!
Okay, and cat.
And?
Suicide note.
What are you gonna do?
I'm glad you asked. For your benefit. I saw read it. My brother.
Hey! Hey!
Suicide note thing. Keep up with it.
But hold on.
So for some keep yourself as finally, you know. Here's the story. Just got lost darkness. Give me the lilies.
Enough already.
Yes, indeed.
Okay, keep it up. Let's go. Right, here we go. My good friend Hina. My good friend Hina, there's something I have to tell you. I hate to do it like this, but you need to know. This is my final wish.
As you know, I've been giving information to the one who's imprisoned you here.
It was our first night in this strange school that the mastermind came to see.
You see, the mastermind took control of my family's dojo and demanded I become their tool.
I went to see the partners of dojo. My family watched over it over 300 years.
I couldn't let it be destroyed under my watch, so even if it meant my own life, I had to protect it. That's how I saw things.
However, that was my greatest weakness. Because of that, I made the mistake of giving in to the mastermind.
And what the mastermind wanted from me was nothing less than murder.
They were probably worried that until the first murder proof happened, nothing would move forward. But what neither the mastermind nor I expected was the incident involving Mizono. At that point, the plan changed. The mastermind told me to hold off and to wait until we reached another stalemate.
However, as I lived here with all of you, as I lived here with Hina, my resolve began to weaken.
Watching everyone fight with such despair, trying to physically stay alive. So the weakness of my own heart, mistakes that succumbed to the mastermind. And more than anything,
I cannot betray those who would call me their friend.
that is how I came to feel. So that's why Sakura...
I've made a decision. I will no longer retreat, no longer compromise, no longer regret. I've made my decision. I'm going to resist you.
Of course, because of that, I said the real secret was made everyone else hater. This isn't say true to all of you, directly to all of you hating her for it. I'm like I said, maybe it's oxymoron, or maybe just moronic.
Of course, I understand if you all hate me. All of this is because of my own weakness.
I'm perfectly willing to accept whatever attack you are going to make on me.
So this is my atonement for betraying you. That's what I had in mind.
But unfortunately, if that's not enough. This won't end with me just accepting your hatred.
My own situation has started having an effect on more people than just me.
Slap.
Which is exactly what the Mastermind wanted when they revealed my betrayal.
betrayal brought suspicion, disharmony. The mastermind knew I was writing something, someone murdering someone else.
Of course, I'm still responsible for that as well.
I have an obligation to get the switching under control. And to fulfill an obligation that I decide to do as the mastermind has commanded. I will do as I was told and commit murder.
But I've decided the one I'm going to kill is myself.
If the mastermind demands that I kill someone, then that someone will be me. And then my dojo will be safe, and above all else, none of you will have to kill anyone. When I die, this also responsible that one of you all dies with me. For that, I'm willing to give up my life.
If it can save you, then sacrificing my own life could have no greater meaning. Whatever you think of me, please know that you are all my most treasured friends.
I never had people like you in my life.
Huh?
And then Sakura. Do you feel corners? Did I hate you?
No way!
So when does that was from fighting to protect us?
Correct.
She didn't end her own life because she was weak. Quite the opposite, in fact. She was strong. Too strong. That's why she killed herself. She chose death for herself in order to protect the rest of us. I like her so much. No one person could do that.
However,
Only her limited strength that made it possible.
Finally, Hina, I want to apologize to you especially.
The reason I didn't tell any of this to you because I knew you tried to stop me. I'm really truly sorry. Please don't be sad. If I can thwart the mastermind's plans, if I can keep you from killing each other, that is enough for me. This is the path I have chosen. It is the only way I have left this clue to myself. And you can use this note to bring the class trial to a quick end. I'm so sorry to ask you to do something that was so unpleasant, and to do the rest to you. Please talk to Byakuya, Toko, and Hiro on my behalf. I can't tell you about my plan while I'm alive. I want you to understand why I'm doing this. In the end, though I hope to show myself through actions and not words, hopefully then they'll see.
I never saw you as my enemy. You were only ever my friend, who I wanted to help as much as possible. Hina, whatever it takes, survive. Survive along with everyone else. No matter what, just survive.
But...
This is... I don't understand how she felt. Not at all. Every explosion still...
What are you gonna do?
By the end of it, all the money was totally pointless.
Uh-oh.
She died, so you guys would kill each other, but you almost ended up doing it anyways. Like the error, your death had no purpose at all. In fact, let's take out your stupid violin that got to be the only about the big one.
Too bad.
She deserves all the blame. Everyone blame her. Go ahead, she deserves it. Now the next victim has been decided. What do you mean the next victim? Nobody here blames anyone.
Huh?
First of all, you're in the wrong scene. That's in my note. And plus, Sakura's death wasn't a waste.
Say what?
So you guys remember, not enemies don't hate each other. Friends need to work together.
You know?
Down straight, Mon. That was our misplaced hatred, Mon.
Well,
I'll blame her. I can't blame her, Mom. Nobody can blame Hina either.
Ooh-hoo!
Apparently not as a spy. It never really mattered. It's the one we need to destroy. You, nobody else.
What? What do you want?
What the heck? Look at this go.
How strange.
Anyway, I brought that to King Games Defensive Team. All of you, remember?
Hey!
Yeah, me and each other. Except you're right about that.
Phew!
How old are you? Yeah, you understand, don't you? This is a life or death in the face match. The way to survive is to win. No doubt that's who's the game. This is what. I'm done out.
Huh?
Naturally. Don't make me repeat myself.
What?
It's all clear.
Hey,
How boring. But then you get come of this. On to the one kind of fun, the fun time.
What the heck?
The fun time on? Hey, next time, we're back on track.
You want me to punish you guys?
And what y'all are waiting for? Fun time!
What?
Alright, check out the next killer. Right, and he's dead. I'm not gonna.
But
Look at me.
Wrong!
What the hell? What the fuck? What is that? This is dead. And I can decide whatever else I want. Then I tell you, here, about the fair times one rule.
Listen up!
I should go time for the night at the sunset. I say if the door is going away.
Yahoo!
If the sunset, I prepare the silver again. Yes.
Let's give it everything we've got! It's punishment time!
Chihiro? Oh. It's Alter Ego! Muscular Monokuma. Extivate Destroyer. Let's laptop into a ball. You!
Oh no!
You suck, man! Never did like enjoy your lunch, Mom!
Phew!
You never get the house and like, my chicken! That's all I say, what do we got left? heard that? Feel goodness. 5 goals in racing. Well, we'll be right back.
So,
I know how dangerous it can be. But still, I think I can do this.
but
That's good, but I think I can handle it. I understand why, but
still.
I think everyone else in my course has to grow. You might think I'm something human, but AI, but it's true. So it's okay.
I'm gonna do my best.
Just like everyone else, I won't be afraid. Trio's words reached my heart and my soul. My belief gave way to raw anger. The anger turned to fury. Black and muddy, boiling over. Bubbled up through my body, quickly overflowing and shooting out in my mouth. How dare you? That was my friend! How dare you kill him?
What's the matter?
Huh? Is that laptop? Afraid fag. What's next? Finish the basketball? Shut the hell up! It's a laptop. It's my friend. You killed him! They call it innocent, social, all things even like a laptop? You got whatever you want. Bottom line, this got in my way. It's trying to turn things all sticky.
Just as I thought.
Actually,
Finally, no, I knew off from the very beginning. I didn't share with you the laptop. I knew you're using download data.
yeah!
I know, from the start. What?
What are you thinking?
You knew you're still probably have less. Take the plunge.
Yep.
Well, in the data on the laptop, it was, I guess you call it a gift from me to you.
Phew.
Maybe it's more reward or honor for you. What's it?
Hey,
So of course, I didn't care how you got, if you got access to that. Speaking of sticking the network, it's just too personal. That's just a little reformatting.
I want to be able to help.
Oh, look how everyone else here, so go get out of here. Trigger wanted to fight for us. He wanted to help us with his own life. And for that, he was killed. Yeah, the punishment made me feel that, but that's better.
very nice.
Crazy meaning is death is so soothing, it makes me remember that every low can get even lower. No, death wasn't meaningless either. Everybody who's died, the deaths of each and every one of our friends, they all make us stronger. Pray to God, someday you will pay for this.
Ba-bum, ba-bum.
Only Melody, you're super mad, like unreasonably upset.
Well,
Okay, that brings me to close, but before that,
uh-huh.
I need to read the postscript.
What?
Postscript.
Yep.
Just a little bit more of Sakura's left to note.
Huh?
Sakura's note. Your kitchen? Okay, here we go.
Hello.
Bridge, I for the truly dulcet tones of yours truly. One other thing, Hina. There's something I'd like to tell you tell the others. Hopefully it will act as a clue to help you unravel the mystery of this school. What? A clue?
Hina.
I've spoken to measure mine off and on the whole time I've been here. I've learned one thing, which is the Mastermind has done something to us. I think what they've done is... Whoopsie daisy! That's one plus one, that word now. We've been deep in spoiler territory.
Too bad.
Okay, there's the surprise. So book club is just for today. What? What can't stop? What one can't stop the important bit? Make your brain rumble and tumble, huh? Make so now you know, huh?
You guys?
So come on, do it. Just back yourself. You know, pardon your resolve. It's fine. At least Sakura's not. Anyway, you grease balls have at it.
Huh?
What?
Too bad.
Yes, I can't lose. Hey, what's this?
What?
Listen now.
What?
Well, let's find this note. And I this from after mine. I'm not gonna just lay down and die. I will fight you, you bastard. No matter what. And that's seriously it. Oh, wow, where's the loser, huh? Oops. She's down there and dies. She's gonna fight me. Yeah, wait a minute. Here's what things I have to say.
Well?
Hey, I'm out here. Guess I tried to get some rest, you know? I take that time to consider how to approach your school life of yours. Actually, you want to graduate? You get to try to go outside world? Think about that. Long and hard. Those are prying words to us before disappearing. What was that all about? Sakura's final message. Her last words to help us solve the mystery of the school. Does she mind listening to us? Kyoko said something like that before, didn't she? After Celeste's trial was over.
You.
What did you do? What did you do?
Who?
What?
Hey,
Answer me. What did you do to my body? Anything to our bodies? What do they say the Mastermind did? What did the Mastermind do to us? I don't know. In an hour and a half. Let's find out next time. How was the saddest trial ever? But if you enjoy what I do here, how about, you will send something on Patreon, or maybe check out my Amazon wish list in the description below. Every bit helps. But if you're poor, you can't afford it. Don't only give if you can. But if not, how about a little something? How about this little comment and a thumb up and a subscribe and that bell icon too? Every bit helps. Doing it again. Never stop learning. Go to randomness. Have a good cry. Because I'll see you next time. Bye.